Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan M.S. Pearce. This is a European news, breaking news update indeed, connected to the war in Ukraine, of course, as well, because we are talking about Moldova. Moldova is a country that borders Ukraine. Transnistria here is the annexed region that Russia has a lot of control over. And there have been parliamentary elections today. There were presidential elections recently that Maya Sandu won again, and the EU referendum that they squeaked through as well. A lot of people were worried about today's election because the Russians have spent an awful lot of money interfering with the election, and there were some real worries that the pro-Russian parties could win. Indeed, there was an awful lot of interference that took place today, very kinetic interference. There were fake mines that have been laid, bomb threats in a number of diaspora voting booths and embassies and whatnot. It's been a bit of a nightmare, but it is really good news for those of us who want a pro-European Moldova that is looking towards the West, that is looking to support Ukraine to prevail. And that appears to be what has happened. 94.81% of the vote counted. And this is where it is looking at the moment. So PAS, that's the pro-European party run by, with Maya Sandu, associated with Maya Sandu, 47.7% of the votes there. That is looking at being an outright parliamentary majority, to the point where Moldovans, you've made history. You're the first to defeat the Russians in a new type of war, said Ion Sturza, the former Prime Minister of Moldova, on his Facebook page. So there is definitely the sense that they have won, and that should give an outright majority to PAS. Some are claiming that 52 seats is what they are on for getting. The pro-Russian party getting 28 seats. The BE, I'll talk about them in a second, 9 seats. PPDA 6 seats. So the PN is a pro-Russian party. So you got the red and the blue here, pro-Russian, so that's 44 seats, but an outright majority for PAS, so that's great. And then if you add the other pro-European, you've got a block here. The BE is a block that they should get 9 seats, and PPDA is a centre-right pro-European party with 6 seats there. So they would have sort of 67 in terms of pro-European seats there. So looking fairly good. So here we have the percentages. It's a bit funky. In order to get representation in Parliament, if I remember correctly, I think an individual party needs 5%. Independents need more than 1 or 2%, I think. Independent candidates, and a bloc needs over 7%. So this is a bloc here. I think that's the only bloc that has succeeded in doing anything. And the alternative bloc, they have posted over 7%, so they will get seats representing their bloc there to the tune of, I think, 9 seats, as was mentioned. PPDA is pro-European centre-right, and then you have these two Russian entities, Partido Nostro, our party, and Patriotic Bloc, getting 25.84. It's worth noting that the logo for the Patriotic Bloc is this. It's a Russian star with the sickle and the hammer in the middle of a heart in the middle of the star. I mean, wow. You couldn't get a more pro-Russian sign than that. So I think it's pretty obvious where their allegiances lie. This is genuinely, though, good news for Europe and good news for Ukraine. This challenge, I think, has been staved off. Now, as Visegrad says, voting has been suspended at Moldovan diaspora consulates in Rome and Alicante after fake bomb threats were called in during today's parliamentary elections. President Maya Sandu's pro-EU PAS party would have won on overwhelming majority of the votes there anyway. Fake bomb threats have so far been reported from Geneva, Rome, 2 locations there, Bucharest, 2 locations, Asheville in the US, Alicante in Spain, and Brussels in Belgium. There's an organised attempt to stop the pro-EU Moldovan diaspora in the West from voting. I wonder who could be behind it. Actually, yeah, lots of reports about these fake bomb threats. You have had other controversies such as, and video evidence of this, of essentially breaking the law. As far as I understand it, I mean, this would be a systematic organization for voting, which is, not kind of democratic. Itinerant electorate. Moldovans are being bussed from Russia to vote in Minsk, so that's Belarus. The police promise a tough response. So Moldovan police stated that organized transportation of voters is illegal and is considered an attempt to influence the election. So in other words, who's paying for this? Why is this happening? But Moldovan police stated that organized transportation of voters is illegal, considered an influence of the election. Polling stations in Moscow are overcrowded, so pro-Kremlin media have boasted of a surge while part of the diaspora heads to Minsk to vote at the embassy. Law enforcement has launched checks and vows to swiftly shut down any such schemes. To complete the festive atmosphere, there's a bus video. Passengers pour liquid from a plastic bottle into cups to music and dance in the aisle. One question remains, though: who organised this trip and with whose money? So Russia is transporting busloads of paid voters to Moldova as well, while sending bomb threats to pro-EU polling stations. Meanwhile, stations with large numbers of pro-Kremlin voters in Istanbul and Moscow are bustling, said Pekka Kaliniemi worryingly earlier on today. We're witnessing large-scale election interference unfold in real time. However, I think it wasn't enough to overcome the size of the vote for pro-EU parties. There was also the claim that Moldova, 3 Kremlin operatives were arrested after they crossed the border from Russia-occupied Transnistria into Moldova. They were to instigate chaos and unrest following the announcement of election results. Improvised explosives were seized. So that's a worry. And then we are hearing that, where is it? Here we go. The Moldovan National Police have stated they have information that violent groups plan to carry out destabilizing actions in Moldova's capital city throughout the night and tomorrow. Quote, law enforcement will not tolerate violations of the law, endangering of citizens or threats to national security. We urge citizens to reflect on their decisions and actions and not allow themselves to be drawn into illegal activities that carry criminal liability. Okay, so that's happening. Then you've had, I don't know if you remember, the French-Russian owner of Telegram was arrested in France and investigated for Russian connections, etc., etc. It was all a long and drawn-out process. He has come out today of all days. So he's kept this to be released today in a very dubious manner, and some people casting a lot of doubt on this. So let's read what Pavel Durov first said. And by the way, it's worth noting that Elon Musk said, wow, to this, as if, oh my goodness, of course, he's going to be supportive of the ultra-nationalist right supported by Russia in Europe. Elon Musk has now begun to give the Russians a helping hand in their attempt to take over Moldova, said Derek Tanis earlier today. So Pavel Durov said, about a year ago, while I was stuck in Paris, arrested, the French intelligence services reached out to me through an intermediary asking me to help the Moldovan government censor certain Telegram channels ahead of the presidential elections in Moldova. So this is a presidential election, not today's parliamentary, so previous elections. After reviewing the channels flagged by the French and Moldovan authorities, we identified a few that clearly violated our rules and removed them. The intermediary then informed me that in exchange for this cooperation, French intelligence would say good things about me and to the judge who had ordered my arrest in August last year. This was unacceptable on several levels. If the agency did in fact approach the judge, it constituted an attempt to interfere in the judicial process. If it did not, and merely claimed to have done so, then it was exploiting my legal situation in France to influence political developments in Eastern Europe, a pattern we have also observed in Romania. Shortly thereafter, the Telegram team received a second list of so-called problematic Moldovan channels. Unlike the first, though, nearly all of those channels were legitimate and fully compliant with our rules. Their only commonality was they voiced political positions disliked by the French and Moldovan governments. We refuse to act on this request. Telegram is committed to freedom of speech and will not remove content for political reasons. I will continue to expose every attempt to pressure Telegram into censoring our platform. Stay tuned. So that was Pavel Durov, rather controversially released on the day of the elections today. Dr. Ian Garner says Durov and Telegram de facto support the Kremlin's information wars against Europe, Exhibit 1 million. He says below, notice that the very slippery wording, everything's fine if propaganda channels don't break Telegram's own rules, which are created with a nod to the Kremlin, a self-fulfilling cycle. If you simply claim your propaganda campaigns, your information warfare is a political position. You can say anything you like on Telegram. That position is either very naive or by choice very sympathetic to the aggressive discourse that is corroding democratic politics. If a political party created the Telegram channel to support legalizing genocide, filling it with pro-genocidal images and videos, would Durov accept that just part of ordinary politics? If yes, he's a monster. If no, then why is the Kremlin allowed to operate without restriction? So some issues with what Pavel Durov is saying by all accounts. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that one in there as well. The end result is it's looking like good news for the pro-European contingent in parliamentary politics in Moldova. 95.43% now counted, and it's looking good for those pro-European parties. 48.01% now of the PAS vote, and I wonder if, like other countries, diaspora vote comes in after other votes due to geographical challenges and whatnot. And if the diaspora vote is overwhelmingly, outside of maybe Belarus and Russia, is overwhelmingly going to come in favour of the Europeans, a little tip up there from the PAS. The PAS seems to keep ticking upwards. Then that's good news, and they are likely to get a pretty decent, 48.12%. So it's going up in real time here. They are likely to get a larger and larger fraction of the seats there. I think with 47% counted here, that would result in 52 seats. So it's likely to go, if anywhere, it's likely to go up in terms of seats there. 25.55% for the pro-Russian group there, which is down from where it was earlier. So that appears to be going in 25.51. So it looks like PAS is gaining in real time, and the Russian bloc is losing in real time. So that's good news again for the pro-European groupings here and parties. I'll leave it at that for now. Just it's some incredible interference, like proper kinetic interference, like tangible interference, not just kind of abstract information warfare and whatnot, which has also been huge. And there have been these massive cyber attacks on Moldova today. The Russians have thrown everything at this, supposedly spending $200 million on interfering in this election, and that is a huge percentage of Moldova's GDP. And yet it appears that democracy has won through. So that would be that's brilliant, and there will be a sustained support going forward for Ukraine. Ukraine and Moldova are in very similar situations in many ways. Annexed regions, both wanting to accede to the EU, both having huge influence operations by the Russians in their everyday life and in their political discourse. That's enough from me. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.